Welcome everybody to the Rainey Review for June 2026. This slide shows the growth of $1 invested in various asset classes for the 3 months ended 30 June 2026. The leader over this quarter is emerging market shares in red, where $1 invested 3 months ago would have grown to a staggering $1.24. In second place is unhedged international shares in navy, where $1 invested 3 months ago would have grown to $1.14. Standing out in the middle is that 50-50 mix of shares in property and cash and fixed interest, where $1 invested 3 months ago would have grown to $1.05. That is a very good quarterly number. This slide shows the growth of $1 invested in those same asset classes now over the 12 months ended 30 June 2026. The leader over 12 months is, again, emerging market shares in red, where $1 invested 12 months ago would have grown to $1.54. In second place is unhedged international shares in navy, where $1 invested 12 months ago would have grown to $1.29. Again, standing out in the middle is that 50-50 mix of shares in property and cash and fixed interest, where $1 invested 12 months ago would have grown to $1.11. That is a very good 12 months. But I always say 1 year is not long enough. We need at least 3 years data. This slide shows the growth of $1 in those same asset classes, this time invested for the 3 years ended 30 June 2026. The leader over 3 years is, again, emerging market shares in red, where $1 invested 3 years ago would have grown to I had to change the scale, $2. In second place, also again, is unhedged international shares in navy, where $1 invested 3 years ago would have grown to $1.83. In third place, in orange, is unhedged global infrastructure, where $1 invested 3 years ago would have grown to $1.58. Standing out in the middle again is that 50-50 mix of shares in property and cash and fixed interest, where $1 invested 3 years ago would have grown to $1.31. That is a much better than average 3 years. During the quarter, celebrated economist, retired Federal Reserve Chair and pipe aficionado, Alan Greenspan passed away at the ripe old age of 100. Alan Greenspan was a titan of monetary policy who served as Federal Reserve Chair for an unprecedented 5 consecutive terms under 4 different US presidents. Given the incumbent US president lambasted a sitting Fed chair and allegedly indulged in politically motivated threats of criminal charges, that is quite some achievement. Sometimes described as the god in the machine of American finance, Greenspan left an indelible mark on the Federal Reserve and presided over one of the longest periods of sustained economic growth in United States history. He famously refused interviews during his term as chair of the Federal Reserve, which meant that the media and commentators pored over the few things he did say. Greenspan was so well respected that he continued to be sought out for comment well into his late 90s. Truly a giant of monetary policy. Because this is a quarterly update on investing and not just me nerding out about cool economists, and no, that is not an oxymoron, I thought I'd close with some of Greenspan's most poignant comments about investing. The first, coming after a quarter that included both the cessation and re-escalation of war in Iran, alongside very strong investment returns, is an admission of the fallacy of forecasting. We really can't forecast all that well, and we pretend that we can, but we really can't. And the second might go to why forecasting is so very difficult. Markets do very weird things because they react to how people behave, and sometimes people are a little screwy. A better strategy is one that doesn't rely on forecasting. You know, because people are sometimes a little screwy. Thank you all for watching. I look forward to updating you again in the next edition of the Rainey Review.